What happened in the congressional hearing room yesterday will be remembered as one of the most devastating political moments of the year. Senator Tommy Tuberville thought he could mock Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett's military knowledge with a laugh that would silence her forever. What he didn't expect was the letter from her veteran father that would completely destroy his reputation in front of the entire nation. The moment Tuberville let out that dismissive chuckle, thinking he had cornered the young Texas congresswoman, everything changed. Crockett didn't just fight back. She unleashed a family secret that left the Alabama senator speechless and the entire room in complete shock. The confrontation had been building for months, with military families across America watching as their loved ones' careers were held hostage by political maneuvering. Promotion ceremonies were canceled, retirement plans disrupted, and military children faced uncertainty about their futures, all while politicians played games with their parents' careers. What made this moment even more explosive was that Tuberville had no idea what was coming. His intelligence about Crockett's background was completely wrong. His staff had focused on her legal career and political positions, but had completely missed the most important fact about her life. She was raised by a decorated combat veteran who had taught her everything about military service and sacrifice. Before we dive into this incredible story, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any of these explosive political moments that are reshaping American politics. Trust me, you're going to want to see how this plays out. This wasn't just another political argument. This was the moment when years of disrespect met decades of military service, and the results were absolutely devastating for Senator Tuberville. Senator Tommy Tuberville walked into that hearing room with the confidence of someone who thought he owned the place. At 69 years old, the former Auburn football coach turned Alabama senator has made a name for himself by taking on anyone who challenges conservative military policies. Known for his tough talk about supporting the troops, Tuberville has spent his Senate career positioning himself as the ultimate defender of military values. The senator's rise to political power had been built on his coaching reputation and his ability to connect with rural Alabama voters who appreciated his straight-talking style. His supporters saw him as someone who understood discipline and leadership from his decades on the sidelines, guiding young men through the pressures of college football. They believed this experience translated directly to understanding military culture and values. But there's something about Tuberville that his supporters often overlook. Despite all his military rhetoric, the senator himself never served in the armed forces. His entire understanding of military life comes from the sidelines, first as a football coach dealing with former military players, and now as a politician making decisions about people whose experiences he's never lived. Tuberville's confidence that morning came from months of successfully defending his controversial stance. He had weathered criticism from military families, veteran organizations, and even some members of his own party. In his mind, he was fighting for principles that mattered more than individual careers or personal convenience. He genuinely believed his football background gave him special insight into military discipline and sacrifice. On the other side of this confrontation sat Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, the 43-year-old Democrat from Texas, who has quickly become one of the most formidable voices in the House of Representatives. A former civil rights attorney with a sharp legal mind, Crockett has never backed down from a fight, especially when it comes to defending military families and veterans' rights. Crockett's political career had been built on her reputation as someone who did her homework and came prepared for battle. Her legal background had taught her to build cases methodically, gathering evidence and waiting for the right moment to present it with maximum impact. She had spent weeks preparing for this confrontation, knowing that Tuberville's dismissive attitude toward military families demanded a response. What most people in that room didn't know was that Crockett's passion for military issues runs deeper than politics. Her father, Master Sergeant James Crockett, served 3 tours of duty in Vietnam and spent 22 years in the Air Force before retiring with full honors. The lessons he taught her about service, sacrifice, and standing up for what's right shaped everything about who she became. Growing up as a military child had given Crockett perspectives that few politicians could claim. She understood the reality of military life, the constant moves, the deployments, the uncertainty, and the unique challenges facing military families. This wasn't theoretical knowledge gained from briefings or policy papers. It was lived experience passed down from father to daughter. The hearing was supposed to be a routine discussion about military spending and veteran benefits. But tensions had been building for weeks between Tuberville and several Democratic members over his controversial decision to hold up military promotions for months over abortion policies. Crockett had been one of his most vocal critics, arguing that his actions were hurting military families and weakening national security. What made this confrontation even more significant was the timing. Military families across the nation were dealing with unprecedented challenges. Base housing shortages had reached crisis levels in several states, with families living in substandard conditions while waiting for renovations that couldn't proceed without proper leadership in place. Military spouses were facing employment difficulties as frequent moves and deployment schedules made career stability nearly impossible. The promotion holds had created a cascading effect throughout the entire military structure. Senior officers who should have been advancing to positions where they could address these systemic issues were stuck in limbo. Junior officers were questioning whether military careers offered the stability and advancement opportunities they needed to support their families. The human cost of political maneuvering was becoming impossible to ignore. Military mental health resources were already stretched thin, and the uncertainty created by the promotion delays was adding additional stress to service members and their families. Counselors on military bases reported increased anxiety among personnel worried about their career prospects and financial security. The very people dedicated to protecting America's security were finding their own futures uncertain due to political games. The stakes couldn't have been higher. With military families across the country watching, this confrontation would determine who really stood with America's service members and who was just playing politics with their lives. The hearing room itself had become a symbol of this larger struggle, with gallery seats filled by military spouses, veterans, and family members who had traveled from across the region to witness this debate about their futures. The tension in the hearing room had been building all morning. Tuberville had already gotten into heated exchanges with 3 other Democratic representatives, each time using